Hello.
Hello.
And hello, hi.
And hello, hi.
Welcome to the Q&A.
Welcome. Yeah.
We will wait for a few more to check in here before we start the questions.
Yeah.
Hi, Mark.
And I'm just here to. I'm lurking behind here for like 30 seconds, and then I'm gonna hand it over with a warm hand to Jack and Max.
Yes.
Yes.
And of course, if you have questions apart from the ones that we already have recorded, you can write them in the chat, and we'll answer them.
Yep.
And so I also want to say I'm very thrilled about this project, and I am part of the team that works with it as a creative director. But I'm not a coder or anything like that. And so the ones to reply to any questions are Jack and Max.
Yes. We will also be recording this, so we can save it for anyone else who wants to see it afterwards.
It's automatically recorded, I think.
Yes.
Okay.
And then we can ask Basima to put it on YouTube.
We will. Let's wait for a little longer, maybe before we start.
Yes.
So you don't have to record it locally.
Oh yeah, so it's
recorded
of
in
course.
Twitch.
Yeah, it's saved in there. The odds.
But it's only saved for 2 weeks or something.
Yeah, but we can. That's enough time.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right. Should we maybe get started?
Yes.
We'll see if we get anything in the chat.
I have it here as well.
Yeah, I was thinking of Discord chat.
Yes, check that as well.
That's good. Okay.
Cool.
Let's go.
Yes.
All right.
So
I will leave you now to it.
Yep.
Everything works, and have a good evening.
Cool.
Bye.
Bye.
So, maybe introductions first and foremost.
Go ahead.
I am Max. I am working with Jack as both kind of lead developing and designing and coding and a lot of stuff. We're doing a lot of collaborative work here.
Yep.
And you're the real boss of me.
Real boss. I am. My name is Jack. I am the project manager and, well, I guess co-lead designer. We both handle the design of the game as well as programming the game.
Yeah.
So if you have questions about code, we can also answer that, and we hope that in the future we can also introduce you to our artist, Rachel. Hi, Mark. Let me open the questions so we can answer them.
Yes. So today we'll be answering a couple of questions. We've been polling on the Ion public Discord server.
Yes.
And we have a couple of questions. And we'll also, of course, take any live questions if they appear. And we'll do our best to answer them as good as we can.
Yeah.
The game is in a state of where we don't really have everything nailed down. We have a lot of things still up in the air. So anything we say today is prone to change.
Yes.
And probably will do so.
Yes, and there's also a lot of features that are not yet in the game. So we will be showing you the things that are done or somewhat close to done. And that's about where we are. And like Max said, everything is prone to change. But please, if you have any other questions apart from the one we tell, then just write them in the chat. Hello, Scred. All right, let's answer some questions, and after the questions, we'll go over and show you some of the game. So the first question is,
we have it down here.
We have it down here. The first question is, will the gameplay be the same as in the board game?
Which is quite a big question.
It's a big question. The answer is in some ways. The game is heavily inspired of Phil Eklund's High Frontier 4, and we take many of the mechanics directly into our game.
Almost all of them.
Almost all of them. There are a few things that we change, but the gameplay itself will be quite similar with everything when you think about movement, rockets, everything like burns, hazards, things like that. They will remain the same.
pretty much.
Yes.
Yeah, although we will probably do some things in the game where we will have some more different ways of playing the game as well. So we'll be doing at least 2 different game modes, where we'll be sticking closer to the actual board game in one, and we'll do something that is a bit more casual and easier to digest as well. And so we have a lot of plans to hopefully do some variations on the rule sets as well.
And worth noting is that the game is planned to be a single player game. We also plan multiplayer features, but the base game will be a single player game where we mainly take inspiration from the solitaire versions of High Frontier that already exist. So we kind of look at how the solitaire versions works, and try to make a digital version of those.
Yes, and also how we can use the digital media platforms to actually turn it into an advantage for us as well.
Yeah, right. We're also hoping to reach a broader audience. Of course, we very much appreciate you Ion players, but we also want to reach maybe some younger audience and people that like digital games and maybe not like board games as much.
Yes.
But still hope that you will enjoy it, of course.
Yes. So to summarize, if the game will be like the board game, hopefully you can choose to play it similar to the board game.
Yeah.
And the further we get along in this process, I think the more options we'll give the players.
Right. And again, we are developing a casual and one mode that we are currently calling scientific.
Yes.
And scientific will be very similar to the board game.
Yes. We're basically recreating the map.
Yes. Next question. Will we implement modules 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc.? If not at launch, then later. So the reason we're not really working with modules, the game we are making right now is pretty much the base game of High Frontier 4.
Yes.
We are taking those mechanics, but we are also adding in Frighters, for instance.
Yes.
Which is from module 1, is it 2 maybe?
Yeah. I always play with all of them, so it's
yeah, exactly. We always play with all of them. So we are not really working separately on modules. However, we will probably have additions later on that contains some of the mechanics that are inside of the later modules.
Yes. So we are looking for inspiration for both the base game and probably future content that we will release for it through the modules as well.
Right.
But right now we're mostly focusing on the base game.
Correct.
Yes.
Will there be a multiplayer? If yes, will it be similar to Through the Ages? Take your turn, end it, receive a notification the next time it is your turn. You can answer this one.
Yes, so in terms of multiplayer, we have had a lot of discussions and thoughts about it. It is something that is technically a bit more challenging for us, and we may not see it at launch.
No.
But we have a lot of design goals and we have multiplayer in our scope. And so we first and foremost have a system that is not too similar in mind, which is aimed to be more mobile app friendly and social, perhaps even larger in scale when it comes to multiplayer.
Yes.
But there's also the chance that we'll do something more similar to a 4-player co-op game, for example, or not co-op, but 4-player High Frontier game in the future as well. So we're looking at both options for multiplayer, and we're looking to make the most fun version of the game we can.
Exactly.
But multiplayer in general is very up in the air right now, and
but it's definitely planned.
Yes.
We want to make a multiplayer, but we can definitely not promise it from launch because we want to launch the game quite soon.
Yes.
Mark has a question. So the board game can be quite unforgiving like most field games, which is part of the attraction, but I imagine that might not appeal to a wider app market. Would one of your play modes be difficult versus something more friendly for the wider market?
Quite spot on, actually.
Yes, that's pretty much how it is. So it is a version that lets you skip a lot of the smaller actions. We will show you that game mode.
Just a bit of it.
Yeah, a little bit of it after the Q&A. And that game mode is so essentially you do not have all of the burn spots on the map, and you do not have all of the lines and the hazards and radiations. We skip a lot of the mechanics that can sometimes be heavy, like planning your routes and things like that, which definitely appeals to us, and I know that it appeals to you. But for the wider market, maybe that's not as appealing, but it's rather something that's very difficult for them to get a grasp on.
Yes. So for what we're calling the casual mode, we're looking at focusing more on the sites themselves.
Yeah.
And making that main attraction. Essentially letting you look at more of like, oh, I want to go to Mars instead of, I want to go to these dots on the way to Mars.
Yes.
And then we'll keep a lot of the construction and rocket building, which we think are fun and are very core to the game, pretty intact for that as well.
Yeah. Hope that answered your question. Looks like it did. All right. So next question: if there is a multiplayer mode, how will we approach negotiations between players, such as trading patent cards? Good question. I think the answer is, for one, the multiplayer is not fully designed yet, so we don't know. But we have an idea of a much larger scale multiplayer, as at least our our first thought.
Yes.
Where we are thinking that you could do a High Frontier multiplayer version with 30 players or something like that.
Yes.
At least tens of players. In which case, the amount of patents in the game will, of course, be too few. So we will probably not do negotiations, is our current thought, at least. We'll see if that changes. However, I think this is a good time to mention an addition to High Frontier, which is something that we call conglomerates. And conglomerates is essentially, like in many digital games, like clans in Clash of Clans, or teams in
guilds in World of Warcraft.
Guilds, yeah, exactly. So it's a place where you can invite other players, and you are essentially a team, and you would probably join these multiplayer sessions as a team.
Yes.
So maybe there is an option to negotiate inside of the team. All right.
Yeah.
Hope that answers the question.
It's a very big mode, and I know that's not very explanatory. It's a big idea we had for that, and so hopefully when we get more along the multiplayer path, we'll have more to share about all of that. But that's just some of our first thoughts and initial things.
Yeah, we'll definitely get back to you with more multiplayer information later.
Yes.
Next question: will this game be free on mobile? The pricing is not decided completely yet. We are looking at two versions. Either the game itself is free, or it's so free and you get part of the game, and then you pay for the rest of the game. So you get to try the game out before taking the decision to buy or not. Also fully free, but pay for expansions or additions to the game that will be coming out. Or simply just a one-time payment, potentially pay to play, and with still the potentials of expansions.
I think something to really clear up that we've been quite clear with that from the start of the development process with Ion as well, is that we're not looking to lean too heavily into small in-game purchases. So we're not really looking at things you'd see in most mobile games like Clash of Clans, where you can buy, in-game currency or like small cosmetics or small boosts here and there. We're looking at more selling bigger content packs, for example, or the game itself, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, microtransactions is something we want to avoid. We prefer full game plus DLCs.
Yes.
There might be a world where microtransactions are part of the game, but they will not be for progression in that case. They will be for visuals, if we decide to put them in.
Yes.
But that's definitely not a focus for the game.
Yes.
So the answer is the game might be free on mobile. We don't completely know yet. But again, also information that will definitely come out soon. About the pricing. Next question: would eventual expansions such as the modules be free? So I guess we just answered that.
Yes. It's as ambiguous as the last question.
Yes. So I guess the answer is the same. Will we allow for campaign games to be possible, implementing Interstellar and maybe BIOS? If so, would that be free?
It's a fun question. It's something we love the idea of. But of course, we're still in the infancy of the game, kind of. And we're looking to just make the base game hopefully get multiplayer out and all that stuff. And so that is a fun, but it's way in the future for us.
Yeah, exactly. we love the idea of, because of course we have all the games, the board games here at Ion, and we love the idea of playing this massive campaign with multiple games.
I mean, we're already thinking of like, what are all the Ion games we could adapt, and what are all the things we could do.
I think we managed to make a timeline of 20 games or something that you could just play in a huge campaign.
If you stretch it enough.
Yeah, if you stretch it enough, yeah. However, well, that's not in the scope right now to make some kind of campaign now. We actually don't even know what the game after High Frontier, Digital High Frontier will be yet. So the answer is no right now. But we'll see. We'll see, yeah, definitely. And the last pre-registered question, will we port the game to PC and or consoles in the future?
This is a fun one.
Yeah.
Consoles, no plans as of yet.
No.
At all. I don't think the game itself doesn't lend itself too well for consoles, and it's also quite a process to do that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But we are looking at releasing on PC.
Yes. In
some way, shape, or form.
Yes. So it might be an exact copy of the phone game with UI changes to fit PC better. Or it might be its own game. But we are definitely looking into a PC release as well.
So to elaborate on the own game thing, we were looking at, actually, there was an idea floating around where we could be perhaps delaying our PC release and making bigger changes to it and making more PC friendly and kind of modifying it to fit that format better.
Yeah.
And we could make it like heavier and more scientific and all the fun High Frontier things everyone loves, because we have more freedom to do so on PC.
Yes, we do.
Yes.
And also, of course, just something like improved graphics on PC, just that kind of thing that a computer allows rather than a phone. But absolutely, we are planning a PC release.
Yes. That one quick.
Yeah, that was all of the questions that we received from the Google form.
Yes, they were a bit rephrased. We kind of ordered them a bit differently and rephrased.
Yeah, there were a few more and we chunked some together. If you have any questions now, please write them in the chat, or I could also look directly in Discord, or you could still write in the forum and I can check.
Yes. In the meantime, though, I think maybe we should mention the database feature we're working on and what that could entail.
Yeah, absolutely.
Stuff. So we have been like in heavy talks, and we're all probably in favor of actually doing, most likely, or I mean probably, it's hard to say anything with certainty at this point, but we're also looking at doing a separate app that is a companion app to High Frontier. We've been hearing from a lot of the people over on Discord and fans that
from some interviews we had also.
Yes. The people are interested in having something that accompanies the board game as opposed to a separate game as well.
Yeah.
So we were looking at probably developing a companion app for the board game as well, which is a really interesting prospect. We have a lot of functions and systems that we can take from the mobile game, and maybe we can share from both of them and make something really interesting there. Yeah. We think there's a lot of space to make a sort of companion app for High Frontier. There's a lot of data in the books and a lot of things for, as Mark says here, for tracking aqua, fuel, steps, frost, all that kind of stuff. That would be really, really interesting to develop.
Yeah, we have noticed when we have the digital versions of our game or our interpretation of High Frontier, one of the things that is really nice is that it tracks your aqua, it tracks your fuel, it does everything for you, and there's just a number that you have to look at, and we definitely see how that would be helpful as a companion app when you play the board game as well. Yeah. So we are really looking into that, and we believe that we can use, like Max said, we believe we can use a lot of the systems that are in the game and just put them into a companion app and make them good for you. So that would probably be that you just, you have the what Phil is calling it like an appendix, where we have just a database of all of the patterns in the game, all of their black sites, all of the sites. You could just search for a site. Maybe you could search for, say you don't know where Nyx is located, then you just type in Nyx and you see the information on it, and you can just press a button to see where it is. Things like that.
Exciting stuff.
Yeah, and hopefully that's also helpful. I assume many of you maybe try to get new players into the game, and hopefully that app can be a way to do that. Because we know how difficult it is to catch up with High Frontier in the beginning.
Definitely.
Yeah, hopefully that's an exciting thing to hear about.
Yes.
We've of course still received questions, so if you have any, just write them in the chat. I'm gonna check Discord now as well and see if anyone wrote anything. Doesn't seem so. So should we play the game?
Yes. Let's actually show some of the current game version we have.
Yes.
Now, we'll have to note that this is all very early still, and nothing you'll see is at all finished.
No.
And very rough around the edges.
Yes.
But we do have some things to share.
Yeah.
So
and what we will be showing is what we call the casual game mode, so the one we spoke about before, that is a bit more the kinder version. So you will not see the lines, you will not see the burns or anything like that.
Yeah.
So let's show it.
I think I'll do some of this for him then.
Okay.
Yeah. So just grab some stuff here.
I think there's a fly in here.
There may be a fly. Whatever. Cool. Let's take it from here.
Yes.
Boom. Now let's see if I can
Yeah, make it smaller.
make us a bit smaller. Give us some more space for the screen here. Now there's a lot of stuff going on the screen. We're looking at the entire solar system. This would be the shape of the casual game mode. So currently we are not looking at it all laid down orderly as Phil would have it on his board, but very messy all over the place and moving around actually. And that's something we were really excited about for casual flight, casual game mode. That you could, we could in this game mode actually simulate sort of a solar system.
Yeah.
Because we don't need these rigid positions for the sites if we don't have the lines and the burns in between.
Right. So what you'll notice here is that every site in the game actually moves around the sun. Yeah, turn off the filter. Of course, the scale is not correct. You might have noticed, but every site in the game here is actually rotating around the sun or rotating around a planet, like a moon.
Yes.
Or they have their own systems. For instance, the Ceres system, which is I think up there. It's the Ceres system. You can see that things are kind of moving together and also around the sun. So we are simulating the solar system here and trying to make Phil's map come to life a bit. In terms of all the statistics to get to places, they are extremely similar to the board game. So reaching Mars is as many burns as it is in the board game, for instance.
Yes, sort of. I mean, there's always so many ways of
There's
getting
always-
a third
yes,
place,
yes.
depending on your thrusters and everything. But
We could actually say that we got help from Joff, as I guess most of you have seen his name, and he managed to get every path from every site to every site in a big Excel. It's about 36,000 cells,
Yes.
and he managed to get that out. So it's very impressive.
we have no idea how.
We have no idea how, but he did it, and we were very.
We didn't confront him about it. It was like, oh, it's there, fantastic. We'll take that.
It already existed, so that was nice.
Yeah.
Maybe show the market.
Yes. So this is actually something that we haven't talked about a lot in the Q&A. It is kind of a reimagining of the High Frontier market a bit. That is ugly. We do not want to show that. And so big challenge for us when starting out the development of this game was how do we do the market if you are in a single player game or potentially versus a less sophisticated AI or similar options. And we were really thinking about, we didn't really want to do just pay one aqua, take a patent. It's interesting for maybe some of the politics at certain times to get an advantage, but for the entire game, for the rest of your life, maybe not as interesting. So we were trying to do a bit differently. So we still have, in essence, all of the card stacks that you'd see in the games. We have the thrusters and the generators and the radiators. I should stop doing that. But we are experimenting with different ways to make this a bit more interactive. Having, for example, right now we have a buyout and a bid action.
Yeah.
So instead of you can still bid in this version, but you won't be bidding against other players.
Right.
In this case, you'll be waiting X amount of turns, and perhaps we can do some mechanics with AI, for example, counter bidding you, or raising your bid or something like that.
Yeah.
And we also have the option of just buying it outright right now. So we're looking at a lot of different options to just single player market, essentially, to make it more interesting.
Yeah, and to add on to that, you're speaking a little bit about AI, which is something that we've also noticed from fans, that they are very interested in having an AI.
Yeah.
And we of course understand that. So we are looking into that. It's pretty much what we can say about it, because I know that people are wondering about it. And we are looking into an AI. Currently it's solitaire, no opponents, and you have an objective. But we are looking to see what we can do with that.
Definitely.
Yeah. Let's go into construction, maybe.
Yes, and now here we have essentially no art at all.
No, this is very early, as you can probably tell. This is what it looks like.
Yes.
You can tell about this too, you made this.
Of course, I made this. The construction here is essentially as the game is.
Pretty much.
But it's visualized in a very different way than cards stacking on top of each other. We needed a very different way to show it for the game to actually communicate to you what's working and what's not. Because we really wanted to do that. We didn't want you to just stack cards and hope for the best for the digital version. So in this one we have a hex grid where you'll be able to place out your patents, which look very ugly right now as hexes.
Yeah, don't look at the art for this one.
And essentially everything here kind of connects. So you have to kind of match up your patents adjacent to each other and give them the bonuses that they need, sort of as how you'd imagine them when you're connecting them in the game with the cards. And that's the gist of it. It does add some different gameplay to it. Like for example, there's a limit here, naturally created by the grid. We thought that was interesting. It's not something that usually will hinder you, but it could be interesting.
Yeah.
It does hinder you from making ridiculously big rockets and gives you a bit of a sense of scale, which is found interesting.
Yes. Apart from that, we have the fuel here, which works exactly like how it does in the board game.
Yes.
And so as you can tell, the functionality here is very similar to the board game, and we wanted to keep it that way.
Yes. But we do change up a lot of the presentation of it.
Yeah, the difference is the presentation, but the system itself is pretty much identical.
Yeah.
Cool. Maybe let's talk about what the game at this point is actually about. You can see there in the top right that it says reach Luna Aristarchus Plateau before 2079.
Without any spaces.
Without any spaces. That's just code problems. And what this means is, since there is a solo version of the game,
yes,
we still want you to have an objective. So we want you to be able to have something to go for with increasing difficulty. Of course, only reaching the moon is not too difficult. Oh no, we cannot stop the game, but it's fine. We'll just start a new game.
We can't do so right now. I'm really sorry.
It's fine. We'll just start the game over when it's done progressing. When we lose the game, essentially.
Yeah. If that's a question about gameplay mechanic wise, we're looking at also having the option between real time and turn-based mode.
Yes.
So we're experimenting with.
Okay, I misunderstood you, Mark. Yeah, okay.
So we're also experimenting with real time right now, which is why it's running like this.
Yes. So there will be two. So there's two modes: the casual and the scientific. You're looking at the casual, but there's also two versions of each mode, which is turn-based and real-time.
Yep.
You're looking at real-time. We also have the turn-based. It exists, but in this particular build of the game, we're working with the real-time. And as you can see, there's the little disc there that progresses by itself.
Yes.
And The reason is partly because we wanted to have it more viable on a phone, and a phone is much more kind of
quick sessions.
Yeah, you only play for 15 minutes maximum most of the time. So here we kind of force the player to think really fast. We will probably not limit the player in terms of like actions per turn or operations per turn in the real time. Maybe we'll see. But here is rather a race against the clock, while turn-based is more. It works the exact same way, except time doesn't pass automatically. You press an end turn button.
Yeah, end the year.
Yeah, and mark that you are done.
Of course.
So in this version, you will probably not be able to pause it, just because that's the point. That is a battle against the clock.
Yes.
If you want to, you can make it faster though. Like this. There you go. And that's really fast.
Very fun. No, but we were talking about the objective kind of thing, and that's a very important thing. We are sort of doing away with victory points, at least for now.
Yeah.
As we feel like that it's not a very, very super compelling objective for a single player game to just get a high score. Right. Maybe we'll have the high score as well. Maybe we can do something similar with that as well. But we really wanted to actually take a book out of the contracts from Module 4 and see if we could do something cool with interesting missions and objectives.
Yes.
Since we're looking at a mobile game, we may not want every game to last for 7 hours.
No. Or more.
So that's what we're looking at, potentially implementing some kind of campaign systems and scenario systems where you'll choose kind of what objectives you're playing for and what things you're supposed to be completing.
Yeah. And I guess we'll show that screen shortly, but you're actually unlocking new objectives with increasing difficulty. So I think most of you will find the game very easy in the beginning, but we hope to make it harder because we want to have some pretty difficult ones in there as well. Yeah. With their kind of entire small campaigns. So in order to unlock a new campaign, you have a bunch of things you have to do. With some narrative, some story around that as well, we hope. Yeah, probably.
Speaking of which, do you want to look at that setup screen?
Yeah, sure. Let's first show some flying, because we haven't shown any flying.
Yeah, we don't have any fuel.
We don't have a rocket. So
and we don't have a functioning rocket available to us.
We don't have one available. Okay, I guess there's some real gameplay going on now then. We need an exotic. We don't even have exotic. So let's just buy a new thruster. Oops. A new thruster.
They're set.
Oh, damn it. We have a lot of money, it's fine. Usually you wouldn't have this much money. It's just for
testing purposes.
Let's use that one. Let's use the monatomic plug muzzle. As you can see, we also reimagined the art for every pattern in the game. We think it turned out quite nice in the end.
Yes, it's of course based on the original art.
Yeah, exactly.
We're making it a bit more stylized.
And of course, Phil had to approve everything.
Yeah.
Oh no, we're gonna lose the game in a few seconds.
Go, fly.
Oh, you won't have the time. No, it's gonna end now. Look.
Oh, it didn't end. Okay, go fly.
Oh, okay, it's broken. That's good. This was a...
Oh, that's also broken.
Oh, okay, that's unfortunate.
Well, make your rocket again.
Why is that happening though?
I know why it's happening.
Oh yeah, maybe I know too.
Let's not talk about bugs on the stream.
Yeah, let's not talk about bugs. Let's do that.
Get yourself a bunch of fuel. Cool.
Is that enough?
Maybe.
We'll see.
We'll go somewhere.
Alright. So we can see our little rocket here, which is currently just a cylinder. We plan to make the rocket look like the rocket you built.
As much as we can.
As much as we can. Of course, there's a lot of questions about what does a solar sail look like here. The solar sails are gigantic. They're like 2 kilometers times 2 kilometers or something like that. But we want to make your rocket actually look somewhat like the rocket you built. But for now, where should we go? Do you have a wish?
Ceres.
Let's go to Ceres. So Ceres is has probably moved a bit now. And here it is. Oh, we don't have enough fuel. Okay, that's an UI thing.
Oh, we bugged out a rocket again.
Yeah. No, I think it's just the visuals because it
Okay.
doesn't tell me the warning.
Cool.
Let's see if it worked. It did. Okay,
Our
lovely.
capsule is flying.
Our capsule is flying. So you can see him traveling over to Ceres, which is over here.
Very nice.
Very nice. So this is the big difference between the casual and scientific. As you can tell, there's no burns. The burns are calculated automatically when you click on a site. So when I click on Ceres here, I go claim. No, not claim. I want to fly. Let's do it here. Fly. Minerva. It tells me how much fuel I need, how many burns there are to get there, and any radiation zones and hazards. It tells me right here, and if I have enough, I can fly there. We're working on the scientific right now, which is not at all like this. It's much more like the board game, where you press one button or like one dot at a time.
It's very different.
Very different. But this is at least a system that we hope is more attractive to new players.
Yeah.
It's actually good that the objective here is just going up in number. That's great. This is perfect for the showcase. So this is essentially how it works. Apart from that, you can also, claim and refuel, all of that kind of stuff. Of course, I don't have a Robonaut right now, so I cannot do it. But you can claim things, then you can create your factories, and you can create all of that good stuff. And from the factories, you can make freighters, and you can make black sites, and all of that. Good stuff. But let's stop the showcase of the flying around, and let's show you what the progression will be like.
Yes.
So here is our. You can tell them about what this is.
Sure. This is a very limited version of what we're planning for progression. Right now, it's just a couple missions with one objective each, locked behind the former.
Yeah.
Which is. We're looking to flesh this out a lot.
Yeah.
But this is what we have right now. And we're looking to give you, an objective, a good objective, maybe some narrative behind it, why you're doing it, where you're going, which time period you set in, maybe we'll change the years for flavor. And honestly, I think there's not that much more to that.
No. So what we want to do later is, so these are all we are calling these scenarios. And what they are is, it says on the screen there, complete the previous scenario to unlock. So if I complete the race for the moon scenario, I will unlock the next one. That's about it.
Yeah.
But later we want to expand on this, and instead of scenarios, we have campaigns. And a campaign contains of multiple scenarios.
Yeah.
Possibly even with saved progression throughout each scenario.
Yes.
So completing one scenario will just take you over to the next one. In which case you have multiple objectives in every campaign. So later, this race for the moon would maybe be 5 objectives rather than the current 1.
Yeah.
But I think that's pretty much the only change we have apart from this.
Yeah.
You also see these little trees up here.
I don't want to go into that.
You don't want to go into that?
I think it's too early.
We can tell a little bit about it.
Yes, we are looking to do some actual between games progression to spice up your gameplay a bit. It is something that is not very traditional to High Frontier.
No.
You always start with the same kind of prerequisites. You can always start with the same disposition every time you play the game.
Yeah.
We're looking to change that up a bit, give you some overarching progression for your gameplay. And we're looking to do it in some form of skill/tech tree metagame resource that you'll acquire by completing missions and scenarios.
Yeah. One thing to say about that is that we're not looking to make the game easier. We're rather just looking to unlock more content as you play. Also for new players, if you are a new player and jump straight into High Frontier, that can be very daunting. But in this version, we would rather unlock a little bit at a time.
Yeah.
And soon enough, you would have the full HF experience.
Yes.
After a few unlocks.
We're also dabbling in ideas of perhaps letting you play completely without the text.
Yeah, just turning them off.
If you want just the raw experience of it.
Yeah.
So we're looking to do, as we've mentioned a lot of times now, we're looking to do a lot of like rules options for changing up how you play the game,
yes,
to personalize it to yourself.
Yeah.
We're looking to give you a lot of options.
Mm-hmm. Cool. I think that is about what we have to show.
Yes, a lot of very unfinished things.
Yes. But coming up, we will of course show you more updates. We will do more live streams, and we are thinking about having more live streams focused on other parts of the game. So we'll probably have our artist come here and talk a little bit about the art.
Maybe do some art live.
Maybe even do some art live. Yeah, we're talking about even developing the game live.
Doing some stuff like that.
Yeah, if that would be interesting for you guys to watch.
Or not, we'll do it anyways.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And as always, I mean, both me and Max are always active on the Discord. So if you have any questions after the stream, don't hesitate to tag us and ask us anything.
I know we don't have an HF4 app channel yet.
No, I think that's fine to say that we will receive our own channel for it soon.
Yes. In the Ion Discord.
In the Ion Discord. So that will be focused on the app itself.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool.
I don't think I have much more to talk about.
Yeah.
I think next time we'll want to show you the scientific mode that we're working on.
Yeah.
I think you'll like that.
That will be more familiar.
That would feel much more familiar. Yeah, let's see if anyone has anything on Discord, and if not, then we'll.
Just gonna check for safety's sake. We did say we'll check it, so we'll check it.
Exactly.
You wanna message me as well? You can find it.
Yes, so many. There you go. Oh, thank you, Pons. Glad you like the look of it.
Yeah, we're very self-conscious about it.
Yeah, exactly. What about translations to other language, even allowing fan-based translation by sharing the file containing text? Similar is done through the ages where it was the fans of the games to translate. That's a great
suggestion.
Yeah, really good suggestion. And we've seen from many of the games that we make, especially the board games, that the fan willing to, like the will of the fans to help out is very big. I know you guys really want to take part of making the game as much as you can, and so that's a great suggestion.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, we'll definitely think about that.
Of course. That's just Jon telling us to sleep his computer after we're done.
We're on the big boss computer of Jon.
So, I think that's most for us. This is recorded, or at least the VOD will be saved, and we'll be cutting that down, releasing the full version, and maybe also some highlights or specific questions with chapters perhaps on YouTube.
Yeah.
Maybe other places. We'll see about that, and we'd like to continue doing these things.
Yeah,
it's really fun.
Hope you enjoyed it. We will get back to you with more streams.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you all for coming in. Thank you, Mark. Great. Happy, looking forward to it. And talk to you later. Again, don't hesitate to contact us on the Ion Discord whenever you want to ask about anything.
Yeah.
Cool.
Bye.
Thanks a lot, guys.